Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got a 1953 Chevrolet 3100 pickup in the shop. I'm really excited to work on this truck. I love these things. I had a 5-window back in the day. There's nothing like this truck. This truck's basically completely original, runs and drives. About a month ago, we got it running for the first time in years. Be able to yard drive. The family who owns this truck has actually a carriage house on their property. That's where the truck's stowed. And they'll use this truck as a prop for photographers and rent out the property for photo shoots. So it's really cool. So we did get it running. We were yard driving it. Found that the drain valve on the fuel tank had a pretty good leak. So it'll, even with the valve closed, it'll drain the gas tank right down. And when you're driving it, you take your foot off the gas, the truck comes right to a stop. So the drums are either too tight or one of them's locked up. Not really sure. We got to figure that out. So we're gonna take all the wheels off, take all the drums off, inspect the brakes, and fix that fuel leak. And after that, I'm just gonna kind of comb through it and give it a health assessment so the owner knows what needs to be repaired immediately or what can be repaired down the road. But there's so many options with this truck. There's a lot of aftermarket. And it also matters what you're going to do with it. If you're going to be driving down the highway on this thing, you're probably going to want a all new brake lines and a dual reservoir master cylinder. Or if it's just going to be yard driven, it's probably good to go, you know, once we can get the brakes to not lock up and fix that fuel leak. But we'll get this thing up in the air, pop the wheels off, and we'll start there. All right, so I got the rear drums off, started with the right rear, went to turn it by hand, and it was locked pretty solid. I had to loosen up the adjuster, which is down here, this star adjuster. You'll know if you're going the wrong way. If it's very tight in one direction, you'll probably tighten it up. But to loosen it, you just go in the opposite direction. And in the back end plate, if you haven't worked on drums before, you'll see a hole right behind that adjuster. You can see that slot right there. So from the back side, you're gonna take this tool right here, brake spoon, and going from the back side, and then you're gonna just literally pry that star adjuster loose. And as I was doing that, it took actually all of a half a rotation just to get it to budge. So it was definitely way over tightened. After I got that drum off, the drum's also in pretty good shape too. It's been turned before. Feel a pretty good lip. That's another thing too. Don't pry these drums off. If it's behind the shoe, the material, that lip on the drum from being turned down or being worn in, and you're really prying, you could bend something. You could bend this tab. You could damage the wheel cylinder. So just keep loosening up that star adjuster. Be patient, and you'll get to the point where you can walk it off. Sometimes it'll help rotate in the drum as you're pulling. Just if one side's stuck behind the shoe and one side's not, as you're rotating it, it'll force it to come off. Just take your time. I do spray penetrating fluid on the studs and the hub to loosen it up, and I will tap it with a hammer or mallet all the way around. And then, like I said, loosen it up and start walking it off. So once I got this one off, everything actually looks pretty decent. It could use shoes in the very near future. The hardware looks all right. I pulled back the rubber boots, see if they were wet. If you have any brake fluid inside of your wheel cylinders, replace them. My recommendation, it all depends what you're doing with the vehicle too. If this is staying on the property, I really wouldn't do anything. If he plans on driving it and he really wants to get it out on the road, my recommendation is gonna do a complete brake job all the way around, all new wheel cylinders, and honestly, I would replace the brake hoses and brake lines. They're from the 50s, they're showing their age. It wouldn't even be a bad idea to put a dual master cylinder on here. It's only got the single cylinder master cylinder. You lose a brake line, you literally have no brakes, and you're hoping that e-brake's gonna slow you down. But this thing's no speed demon, so you'd probably be all right. All right, so now we're in the left rear. This same thing, solid, couldn't move it. This took a lot more effort. Shoes in the front are definitely pretty worn, and the reason why is I don't think this one releases. I think this wheel cylinder on this side is stuck. If you look, see if I can get that to focus, right here, that won't make contact to that pivot point. Usually you can take your palm and just punch it in, and all you're doing is forcing that wheel cylinder side to side, and I cannot get it to go in that direction. So this wheel cylinder needs to be replaced. I do the same thing all the way around. That's what I'm going to do, going all the way around. I don't need to show you every single drum. When I move to the front, it's going to be exactly the same. Check for brake fluid inside the wheel cylinders. Check for wear of the brake material itself. But yeah, at this point, my recommendation is I'm going to put it back together, just because it's going to be yard driven, is to replace all 4 wheels, all the shoes, wheel cylinders, clean it up, lube it up well, get the e-brake working. All right, so I'm all done with the inspection. Took some good pictures to show the owner. So now we're gonna adjust these drums. And the easiest way to do this with the rear axle, when you turn in this drum to get a good feel if you're starting to get some drag, is to have the drum off on the other side. So obviously that only helps you when you're doing this one, because once I have this adjusted, I can't get the drum back off. So when I go to do the other side, you really got to take your time with it and get a good feel for it. So what I'm going to do is, with that star adjuster in the back end, I'm going to keep rotating it down, tighten it up, slowly spin it. When I start to feel some drag, I'll go a hair more, and when I really feel it start to tighten up, I'll just back it off until that drag's gone again. And that's what I'm going to do on both sides. Like I said, when you're doing the first side, just keep the drum off on the other side. It'll be really easy to get that feel. But when you go to do the second one with the drum on the opposite side, it is a little harder, but you'll feel it. You'll get a good feel for it. You don't want them so tight that they're dragging and heating up, but you want just a little bit of drag so that you'll have a good pedal, and that little bit of drag will go away pretty quickly. It'll wear right in. All right, so we completed the health assessment on the brakes anyway, figured out why it was dragging, why they were locking up. My recommendation is to do shoes all the way around, wheel cylinders all the way around. I would replace the brake lines and put a dual reservoir master cylinder in it. There's a bunch of different options, different paths you can go to with these trucks. There's a lot of aftermarket out there, disc brake conversions. So I'll leave that up to the owner. But moving on, the next thing we're going to take a look at is a fuel leak. So we did get it running in the carriage house, drove it around the property, and we do have a slow drip at the petcock, so we're going to take care of that next. So we're now under the truck, underneath the fuel tank. You can look right there. Looks like we have 2 leaks. So we have a slow drip, there's a drain plug, and then you got this hose, looks like a JIC type fitting to the hard brake line. So I was planning on just replacing this when I was looking at it in the carriage house, but I'm just going to make one attempt. Right here, that's actually a bonnet nut, so we can tighten that up, and I could try tightening this up, see if we can get that to stop. Again, like the brakes, there's actually an option to put the fuel tank underneath the bed. It's just a lot safer than having a bomb behind your back. But that's, again, up to the owner what they want to do. But I'm gonna see if I can stop this fuel leak just by simply tightening up that bonnet nut and that drain plug. All right, so I did tighten that bonnet nut up. The valve's actually really hard to turn, so I know it's super tight, and it's still wicking out by the threads right here on that cap. So this valve's gonna have to come out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pinch this hose off with a pair of vice grips, because it's gonna get replaced too. It's pretty old. I'll pinch that off. I'll break the line right here so that I can put that line into a bucket, take off the vice grips, and I'll drain that tank out. All right, so here's our current situation. We got the valve disconnected from the fuel line, the hard line, and then I had a piece of heater hose kicking around, scrap piece. I just shoved the fuel line into that, kind of use as just a funnel, a hose here, right to a gas can. So I'm gonna drain this tank, and then I'll get this valve off, and then we'll see what we're gonna replace it with. I don't like these petcock style valves. That shaft, if you get anything on that shaft and you screw it in with any type of debris, or even if it's scored, it's just gonna leak. It'll score the pack in, and no matter how tight you put that bonnet nut, you're not gonna stop the leak. So we're gonna swap it out with something a little bit better. All right, so here's the valve. That 1/8 inch nipple came out of the tank, so I'm just gonna get another nipple, probably get a 1/8 inch elbow, and then go to a ball valve, just a brass ball valve to a barb fitting, and then I'll just put a piece of hose from the barb fitting to the hard fuel line. I don't think we really need this drain plug. I don't really understand this. In order to even take that off, you're closing this valve anyway. Once the valve's closed, I mean, you could just take this hose off, put this hose into a bucket, and turn the valve back on. So this plug's kind of, I mean, useless, I think. I mean, it would make sense if you had another valve on that too, but not. Now you just have too many connections under your fuel tank. So I'm just gonna put an 1/8 inch nipple to an elbow, put on a brass ball valve to a hose barb, and then I'll put rubber line with a hose clamp to the hard line. All right, so this is what I came up with for the replacement drain valve. So I went with a 1/8 inch nipple to an 1/8 inch street elbow, reducer bushing 1/4 to 1/8, 1/4 inch ball valve, and then a barb fitting. So I'll put a fuel line on there with a hose clamp to the hard line with another hose clamp. All right, so I got the valve installed. I got about 5 gallons of fuel in there. It's open. Checking for leaks. I don't see any leaks. Looks like we're pretty good. One more thing I like to do instead of using regular worm clamps, I really like these the fuel injection clamps. They squeeze evenly all the way around. The worm clamp, when you get it tight, it starts to bunch up in that one spot. Just something to think of. So yeah, everything looks good. We're attached to the hard line. I kept the flare. The flare's right there so that this hose can't pop off. The nut is just there. I mean, I can't back it off anymore, and I didn't want to cut that flare off and reflare it. It really didn't make any sense. But looking good with the fuel system. All right, so before I crawl out from underneath this truck, I just want to note a couple more things. The transmission definitely has a leak, and the engine is leaking engine oil also. I want to say it's a heavy leak, but this could have been leaking for 30 years for all we know. So definitely a recommendation to check the level. And I mean, honestly, we should just change the oil. We'll drain the transmission, drain the engine oil, and top it off. Make sure we're good there. For suspension purposes, the front and rear shocks are totally smoked. The front leaf springs look okay. The rear definitely have a sag on the driver's side, which I'll show you in a minute. So I don't know if it's noticeable in the video or not, but if you look at the cab, the pinstripe compared to the top rail of the bed, you can see that it's leaning towards the driver's side. This is the driver's side wheel well. You have about a, I don't know, 1.5 inch gap. And here's the passenger side. You got, I don't know, 3-4 inches. So it is hard to tell on jack stands, but the driver's side leaf spring just needs to be replaced. It's weak, so it's sagging on the left-hand side. So recommendation, change both leaf springs, perches, and rear shocks. So for the front suspension, the kingpin has a little bit of play, and the wheel bearing. Nothing drastic. These trucks were never really all that tight. And then side to side, a little bit of play in the tie rods. Again, this truck basically lives its life yard driving in local back roads. Same thing on the driver's side. A little bit more play on the kingpin. And side to side, a little bit of play in the, this is actually in the steering. All right, so working under the hood. So we got the fuel leak repaired. We have a hot line coming up here, which is no issue, to a new Carter fuel pump. That was replaced the day that we got it running in the carriage house. That line comes up to a new fuel filter, right into the rebuilt carburetor. So fuel system squared away, looking good. Ignition system, same thing. Has a newer coil, pointed condenser, cap, rotor, plugs and wires. So our ignition system's in pretty good shape. shape. Charging system, new voltage regulator. The battery is charging while it's running, so we're good there. Then the next priority, I would say, is this radiator has a leak up top. You can see it right there with the stain in. I'm gonna add some water to it, and I'll let the owner know how much water I added. Keep an eye on it, but definitely recommending to either repair or replace that radiator. I'm not even sure if there's people locally that repair these anymore. It seems like we just replace everything nowadays, but we'll see. All right, I got the radiator topped off. Took about half a gallon, so we'll keep an eye on it. It wasn't bone dry, so that's good. My next step is to get this thing down on the ground and fire it up, take it for a ride, see how the brakes act, and get it back in the shop and see if that fuel leak's repaired. All right, guys, well, just came back from a test drive. This truck runs awesome, shifts well. The brakes are still subpar. They're better, but not good enough to be driving this thing on the road, in my opinion. So we're gonna sort that out. Just gotta figure out what avenue the owner wants to go in. Definitely replacing the wheel cylinders at a minimum, which I think will solve all the issues, but we'll see. I'll leave that for a totally separate video. The fuel leak is fixed, so that's good. That new valve took care of that. But if this video, if you find this video helpful, please think about liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.